Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in to the USCL Division One post-race report here from the Darlington Raceway. This is the post-race report of the Division One USCL Cookout Southern 500. The race was 2 days ago. I have been busy and I have not been able to make this. It is Monday afternoon, and I'm just now making this post-race report, but I'm trying to do this every single week. So, let's get into it, because boy, we have a lot to talk about. Early on, just right off the cuff, it was a great race. Maybe the best USCL race of all time. Definitely the best race of this season. Just the on-track action was great, with limited cautions, I might add. So, right out of the gates, it was pretty evident that tire wear was going to be a huge factor in this race, and it was going to create a little bit of strategy in this race. No one can make it to everyone could make it to the end of the stage on tires. It was that third stage to see really how long you could make your tires last. But there was great racing right away. Everyone from the jump was really aggressive, but not too aggressive. Like I said, there were really no big wrecks in the first two stages. We actually went caution free, I believe, the first two stages. So great on-track product for sure. Right off the bat, it was pretty evident that the corn-built Toyotas actually had some great speed. I'm going to try to talk in the third person here and not talk about me, Mason, because I'm on top of my pit box right now of the 45 car, as you can see right there. Now, like I said, early on, it looked like Corn-Built had brought the speed to Darlington. It was the Hobbs show in stage one, with Mason and Nyan following closely behind them in a battle for second for 4 stage points. So it was Mason who got 4 stage points, and stage one ended Hobbs, Mason, Nyan, Alex, and F. Sewell. Now, Kappa, interestingly enough, was not in his top five. He started a little bit further back and had to eat his way forward. And you know, traffic does not help at all in racing. And then stage two got underway. Pit stops kind of flipped some things around, but once again, it was much more the same. Some great racing, many Darlington stripes, and once again, once those tires were wearing, man, it was tough to race. You were fighting for almost every single inch on the racetrack. Like I said, caution free for the first two stages. There was not a caution in stage two at all. And once again, it was the corn-built Toyotas that were absolutely dominating, because Crowdy, the winner of 2 straight at this point, found himself in the mix, and he was up in the top five and eventually found his way into the top four. It was Mason, Nyan, and Hobbs who all battled out for the stage win, but inevitably Mason did get the stage win with Nyan second, Hobbs third, Crowdy fourth, a cornbelt 1, 2, 3, 4, and then F. Sewell in fifth. He finished fifth in both stages, so he threw his hat in the ring for potential contention. Then pit stops ensued, and then it became the Kappa show. He absolutely took off. He rocketed forward and instantly became a favorite to win this race. However, about 20 laps into the stage, Nyan had a big mistake and actually ended up blowing a tire. No caution, but he lost several laps because of that, and that inevitably did end his race. And he had a very strong race. And then there was a caution actually before that Nyan blunder. So Nyan actually blew his tires after the early caution in stage three. So after the whole Nyan thing happened, then CJ and CHX, two O'Quinn Motorsports teammates, started finding their way to the front. I think they were running third and fourth respectively at the time. Then those two tangled, and CHX got into CJ and essentially ruined all their momentum and fell way back in the pack, lost lots of time. And I can tell you right now, no one is happy in the O'Quinn garage right now. They were heated at each other on the radio. They would make strong pushes to get back to the front, but we'll get to that later. Then, after this entire beef between the two O'Quinn Motorsports teammates, a caution flew with 20 to go because of a wreck. At this point, it became the Mason and Kappa show, and I'm going to come out of third person here. Man, what a battle it was with Kappa. Kappa, if you're watching this, always a pleasure. Something that we have not seen in a while. Two of the best in the series, just absolutely dueling it out. And it didn't look like there was a clear favorite. It could have been either one of those two. But F-Stool was actually lurking close behind. He was starting to get into a rhythm and starting to compete for the lead. But then the caution fell with 20 to go, and then we had to make some pit stops. Mason, who was leading at the time of the caution, actually did fall back to third after a mistake on pit road. And then after the 20 to go caution, it was a three-man race. It was Mason, Kappa, and F-Stool. F-Stool was finally catching up to the two other leaders, and he looked like he might pick up his first win ever in the D1 series. However, with about 10 laps to go, all three of those drivers went three wide into turn three, and it looked like they were going to make it. However, F-Stool and Mason tangled. Both were able to save it, however, lost a lot of time to Kappa, and Kappa opened up a 3-second lead, and it looked like he was going to be able to win this race. However, hold everything, because with 7 laps to go, another accident brought out another caution, and the field was going to be stacked up once again with 5 to go. And at this point, it was Kappa, Mason, and F-Stool who were all in the top 3, and it looked like those were going to be the guys to beat. The restart went off without a hitch, and it was those 3 that pulled away early. With 3 laps to go, Mason was right on Kappa's bumper. Going down turns 3 and 4, he drove it in hard. Him and Kappa made a little bit of contact, but coming out of turn 4, Mason was inevitably able to clear Kappa. And it wasn't done there. Coming to the white flag, a very close finish. Kappa knew he had one shot at it, and he stayed on Mason's bumper throughout turns 1 and 2. And in turns 3 and 4, he drove it in really hard, got right to Mason's bumper, and coming out of 4, got a good run. It just was not enough to get Mason at the line. And Mason gets his first win of the season, and a season that has been a rough one for that 45 team, but a big win for sure. And now his new startup team, Hornbit Motorsports, all 4 of those drivers are locked into the playoffs. So after the race, let's look at the points. Now, not a big shakeup. The biggest one being Mason is now in yellow right there with all of his Hornbilt teammates. Now, Joseph actually had the points lead. My pre-race report was incorrect there. He had the points lead going into this race. However, he had to miss this race, and his sub actually did not qualify into the race. We cut it off at 14. So Kappa barely edges out Joseph and now has the points lead. CHX, Alex, F-Stool, those guys actually all had solid runs. And they all had really good runs, and they honestly, any one of them could have won this race. Alex was just kind of there the entire race, but that's good for that North Bend racing team. They're continuing to show improvement every single week. CJ, he had a really, really strong car. I just want to give a quick shout out to CJ. 3, CJ found something, and he had an edge over every other competitor in the field, and he looked like he might run away with it. But after him and CHX, got into a little bit, he just never recovered. So he remains winless on the year and 10th currently in points. Austin and Cripple remain above the cutoff line. 76ers had a decent race going for a little bit, but unfortunately, his day came to an end early. And Meep, he was able to show up to this race, but did not have the greatest pace. So not much progress made on the cutoff line. Honestly, if we're looking at the points right now, I feel like anyone in the top 10 has a legitimate case for making a deep playoff run, because they've all shown some great speed this year. You can even argue Austin. He's been improving a lot. He's had some good runs this year. I could see any one of these top 10, maybe even 11, making a playoff push here. So anyway, that's all I've got for you guys today. What a wild night in Darlington. Next week, we go to Bristol, the last great Coliseum. We're going to do a little bit of short track racing. Should be fun. See y'all next week for the next pre-race report. D2 pre-race reports are coming soon. Anyway, I'm Mason, signing off. See y'all later.